the View's Instagram page, wow, someone will say something really just completely innocent, and they will go on that page and attack them for everything. And then people will start fighting on the page internally. And it has nothing to do with what the person said. And they take it in a completely different direction. So for me, it would probably be easier to do the show today for as a daily host, because I wouldn't read the stuff and I wouldn't care, because I've grown so much in the years I've been doing this that I know you're never as good as they say, and you're never as bad as they say, ever. I could never be as fantastic as some of these things, right? But please. And I'm also not as bad as they write either. So as long as you stay in that middle ground, you realize you can't listen to these things. You can't read them. You can't worry about them. Again, like we started this conversation, what they say is more about them than it is about me. Like, that says a whole lot about you, honey, if you're going to write something so evil about me. So anyway, for me, it would probably be easier to do the show, but in general, I don't think it is, because of how many opportunities and how many places people can really go after you.
That all makes sense to me. What about, look, we've all read Ladies Who Punch. You were, involved, like how accurate, like what was the atmosphere like when you were there? Like, you are the OG, like that season 1. It's like, I think it's so authentic because yes, the show has changed, but like, you don't have anything to compare it to. So you don't come in studied. Oh. Talk to us about Ladies Who Punch. And what was the atmosphere like? Did we see Barbara melt down on a daily basis?
Not a daily, listen, Barbara's a lot of things. She's an icon. She's a legend. She's a trailblazer. She's amazing. The woman, what she's accomplished is mind-boggling, especially with what she had to accomplish, what she accomplished in that day and age compared to now. She's tough as nails. She's not warm and cuddly. She's not going to come up and give you a cuddle and a hug and a kiss. Sometimes she would, but that's not what you're going to expect. She was hysterical, and she was sometimes so raunchy and off color. And I would die and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's telling me these like dirty jokes. She was hysterical in that sense, but she was tough. And she's like, I'm not going to come in here and bust my ass and with you guys not doing it. And her reputation was on the line. This is a woman who has had an incredible career, sacrificed everything in her life to get where she was. And she certainly wasn't going to let 4 other women who were like, woohoo, whooping it up, and we thought this was a big party, to take her down. And she also had a reputation to uphold with heads of states, with presidents, with her very bougie friends, and suddenly we're like, so she was tough. And I expect her to be tough, because if she was going to work that hard, we should work that hard too. Like, I have no problem with that. And I understand that a lot better now than I did then. And I'm sure the rest of those women do too, but especially me, because all I knew was MTV. So now looking back, having come full circle and having hosted my own show for 10 years and seeing, the younger kids and younger generation come up and all of us busting our butts. And I'd be like, what is this kid doing? Like, in your brain. And I would think back and laugh and be like, oh my gosh, that was me. That was me. Oh. And I'd be like, instead of being angry, I'd be like, come here, let me just tell you something. We're all working so hard, and it looks super disrespectful if you're not. So I would go about it in a different way, probably because I know what it was like the other way. I knew what it was like to get the wrath of God on the other end and be like, oh, and be petrified and so scared to come out of my dressing room. Did I deserve some of that? Yeah. In today's day and age, you'd be in huge trouble if you acted like that on a set. But that was a different time. The way that you were corrected on a set back then was much different than the way you'd be corrected today. I would say things that Barbara didn't like. She would pinch me under the table. She would literally pinch me, give me the church pinch, or punch me like that under the table. If that happened today, but of course, I knew at that time too, I respect this woman. I respect everything she's been through. Maybe I needed that. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about going to Prodigy concerts or, like, it was a different time. And were those stories in that book true? Yeah. They're all true. None of those are lies, because if they were lies, you'd have one of those people suing you. Do you know what I mean? And I will say, when he came around to do the book, I knew him because he had written a story on me in Variety years earlier. And he called me. I was at the Insider, and he said, I'm going to do this book. I'd love you to be part of it. And I went back and forth. I thought, all right, come to my dressing room. We'll talk. I'm not telling you to be part of the book. Just come to my dressing room. So he came to the dressing room. He was really cool. And I was like, I want to help him do this because he's a lifelong fan, like crazy bananas fan. And he goes, well, I'm having a hard time getting anyone else to agree to talk to me. I go, all right, well, what are you going to do if certain people don't talk to you? He said, I'm doing the book anyway. So it'll just be stories that other people tell me. I said, okay, give me a week. And so I called everyone that I had the numbers to, all of them, whether they were on the show with me or not, because we all still kind of keep in touch. And I said, look, he's doing the book. So I've decided I'm going to speak, because at least it'll be my truth. So it's up to you. Do you want to speak? Do you not want to speak? But he's going to do it. So if I were you, I would say what you want to say. And 90% of the people did it.
You really deserve like a producer, something. I mean, you got to
thank you in the back of the book to me. Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was.
Wow. Did you go to work like in fear of being pinched under the table each day or punched?
They moved me halfway through the season. They moved me because they were like, she can't sit here and be get the church pinched by Barbara all the time. So halfway through the season, I think I sat in between Star and Joy. That's where they moved me. And I used to be between Joy and Barbara.
So weren't you secretly happy when you were moved?
I was very happy. I was very, very happy. Also because I was stressed sitting next to Barbara. I was super stressed out, like thinking, oh my gosh, even if she's, not giving me the church pinch, but, oh gosh, I hope I'm sitting correctly. I hope my outfit's okay. I hope, and that stress does not help you perform in any way. And you're so caught up in your head forget the stress of America telling you who you are and what you did wrong, what you did right every single day immediately after the show, because it was a live show, and you trying to be the representative or the voice for an entire generation. I mean, that's a lot of pressure. And then you have Barbara, whose show it is. So, the inner turmoil was, it was real. Let me be honest with you. And one time I remember Barbara, when I was walking out on stage, I don't know if I told him this in the book, she took my cards, and we all had cards. She ripped them up and threw them away. She threw them. And I said, she goes, you're much better without cards, baby. You don't need these cards. I was so scared. It was like walking on a high wire with